Leave me alone.
Leaves first, and then the next furthest train leaves, and then so on and so forth. If you got on those trains that are right next to your ship, you go halfway up the mountain, turn around and come back and see the same thing twice in 3.5 hours, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to go to the train depot here and get you guys on the correct train going all the way to Carcross. Now there are also many buses coming back on that road, and they're all going to the same place, so you get on one, I imagine you'll get where you're going eventually, but you want to make sure that you get on my bus when we're up there in Carcross. So I will be sitting right on the picnic tables, right where the train lets you off at 1 o'clock. So you get in at 12:30, you will have 30 minutes to get some ice cream, do some shopping, walk around. Carcross is a town of 300 people. Doesn't take a lot of time to see the whole thing. Past Yukon Route Railroad. Built 119 years ago for the Klondike Gold Rush. And we'll be heading up the White Pass towards Fraser, British Columbia. Now once at Fraser, the train will be stopping, and at that point we will have a few brave bikers get off to enjoy their journey back to town by bicycle. But for most of you folks, you're going to be getting checked by customs, and then you'll continue on all the way. And he was convinced that not only could this railway be built, but he was the man to do it. All he needed was the financial backing. So the chance overnight meeting of these two men in a bar changed the trip to the Klondike from months and months of hiking to a matter of hours of easy, comfortable travel on the train. It did take $10 million to build this railway, and another $2 billion to outfit for service, and that's when gold was only selling for $7 an ounce. So this really is an international railway. It was funded by the British, contracted by the Canadian, and the work was done by mostly Americans. It was pretty much those miners either stopping to make a quick buck and continue on towards the gold fields, or to give up and head back home.
If you wouldn't have had that in a year about it,
yeah, I think it's like 23.
yeah, that's what I thought.
To go if you
So
get
our
out of
kids,
Wait, large waterfall this side.
Look at this.
Oh. I guess it depends on which way it is.
This entire alleyway, and that's how they would get themselves, what they found, and their supplies to and from the train and over to that mountain. Now it's just a great place to occasionally spot our resident mountain goat friends, so keep an eye out for off-white colored dots walking around on those cliff banks. If they're moving around, it's probably mountain goats. If it's not moving around, it's probably some snow.
know,
cantilever bridge in the world.
For this area, that means not a whole lot of daylight. So this bridge was built predominantly in the dark.
Well, it looks like it's falling apart.
Using oil lamps. And those workers could only work in about 1-hour shifts, as the temperatures that winter regularly dipped to negative 40 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. One of the most gruesome portions of the White Pass Trail, known as Dead Horse Gulch. Now, entrepreneurs would buy retired horses that were in line for the glue factory at about 25 cents or less in Seattle and Vancouver. They would bring them up here to Skagway, advertise them as healthy pack animals, and sell them to those very ignorant miners looking for an easier way up the pass for $2 to $10 a head. Now, with these miners not having the real financial means to take care of these animals, and the fact that they did not have much knowledge on how to do so, paired with the fact that these horses were already on their last legs, it said that few of them survived more than 2 or 3 trips up to the summit. About 3,500 animals died by falling off the trails, drowning the river, and starving to death. Now, George London, the famous Jack London, the famous author, came up here during the gold rush and witnessed this travesty firsthand, and this is what he wrote. The horses died like mosquitoes in the first frost. From Skagway to Bennett, they rotted in heaps. Men shot them, worked them to death, and when they were gone, went back to the beach and bought more. Their hearts turned to stone, those that did not break, and they themselves became the beasts, the men on the Dead Horse Trail. The scenery has changed a little bit. Now our tree line is right around 3,000 feet, which is a little bit over the elevation we are currently at. Now the trees we can see around us are the same types of trees we've been seeing the entire train ride. However, a lot of people think that these are young trees as they are pretty short. But a lot of these trees actually predate the gold rush itself. The reason that they stay so small is they only have a couple-week growing period in the very middle of the summer, and they're only growing on about 3 to 5 inches of topsoil. When they do grow, they choose to grow outwards rather than upwards, giving them a rather bush-like appearance. So a lot of these smaller patches of trees are actually one giant tree connected by a singular root system. Passport and submit up to the picture page. Customs will soon be coming through to inspect those passports. As they do come through, please have all cell phones and cameras put away.
Con la pinche diabla que
It does have some fish, Arctic grayling and lake trout. We are now continuing on our journey to the shores of Lake Bennett, milepost 40 on those rail maps, where we will be stopping and we'll be deboarding the train to get a little bit of exercise. There are bears in the area, so we advise that you go out on the trails in small groups. These These are wild animals, so if you do encounter one, make yourself appear large by waving your arms and making noise. Now, because of these bears, we ask that you do not bring any food or garbage out onto those trails with you. If you do have any garbage, there are bins at the very front and back of the coach cars that you can deposit it in as we exit.
Sorry, I couldn't keep up.
Shell containers that it came in. So if you're done, just leave it out on your table and I'll come by and grab it from you. Oh, sure.
On May 29th, the ice on Lake Bennett broke, and within 2 days, over 7,000 boats left loaded with 30 million pounds of food and supplies. Bennett continued to grow with the influx of miners, with hotels, banks, a newspaper, and even a chamber of commerce. Now, it turned into a railroad town with the construction of this railway, the main work being people transferring freight from train to boat. However, with the completion of this rail line in July of 1900, Bennett was almost abandoned since there were no more miners coming over and no more work from those boat transfers. And we will be traveling alongside the beautiful Lake Bennett over 27.7 miles as we do head up towards the Carcross.
A ver si vemos tu campana. Stand there and collect $5 a piece.
나지 않나?
What have you got there?
Fluffy pie, creme brulee, sultana bread, orange, melon, cheese and one nacho. So what have you got, Alan?
Well, I wasn't to be outdone by Lisa, so this is called chocolate chiffon pie. Don't know what that is. This is chocolate s'mores pie, and these are 3 roast potatoes.
Ooh. Well, enjoy.
Chocolate chiffon pie, roast potato.
We went down to Sarasota, run up, close to the yard, and it takes us right around 45 minutes.